All right, everyone, welcome back to the Shift Points podcast here, where we talk about everything Southeast Gassers. And we're coming off of the championship race with Southeast Gassers. We've got Randy Edmonds here with us, as always, race director for the Southeast Gassers. Randy, how's it going? Good. So we come off of Shady Side. We're just now, we're this 2 weeks off of it now? Kind of week and a half off of it or so?
Week and a half, yeah.
And we were able to go on Friday night, and I tell you, just the energy, it's unbeatable at these events. I mean, I really enjoy being at them.
It is, and Shady Side's one of our biggest races. You know, we have two there a year, and we had a good turnout of cars, 80-plus cars, you know, and so there's a lot of energy at Shady Side, always is and stuff, and the weather was good, the weather was great.
Perfect.
Track was good, so it was a real show.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. And I just, like I said, and we say this all the time, but just the people at these events, and I was telling you beforehand, Tim Hall's mom came up and talked to me and said how much she enjoyed the show and all that, and what we do here, which made my day when she told us that. And so I just enjoyed the heck out of that. And like I said, just the people there, unbeatable. And you just don't. People just meet you and, hey, how's it going? Hey, Jake, how are you? I mean, some people maybe I hadn't even met before. They know you and they're speaking. That's and it's awesome.
It's that way, I mean, it's just a big family. Tara went to her first one in 2018, and we ended up sitting with the Halls. I had been to several before that, but we ended up sitting with them and got to talking with Jane, and I mean, it's just got better sense. You know? I mean, she's just always there to give you a hug.
Immediately.
Sure enough, she's a good one. The whole family, and that's just another one of those, as I've said here many times, another one of those great families.
Yeah,
and.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, let's get into the racing. How did everything shake out this weekend?
It went well. It went very well. We had, like I say, over 80 cars to start out with. Some few broke and things and stuff, but AFX had 4 AFX cars this weekend. Alan Platt come down for the win. I think that's his first win this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's his first win this year. Glad to see him win.
So we were lucky enough that this week, Dylan with DH Media, he actually sent me over some clips to incorporate into the podcast, into this podcast. So you guys are going to get to see some of the footage that he has done. And like we say all the time, Dylan's work is immaculate. And you can check out Southeast Gassers' YouTube channel and check out their full race recap, which I'll tag here as well. But we'll go through the first one here and go ahead and get that started.
Through the base right there, 606 with a 3 at 114 miles an hour as he takes the win.
A little info on AFX. We're going to go ahead and make it a class.
Okay, great.
The way it's going to work, and H Gas also, I'll go ahead and throw that in there. They're both going to work the same. You got to have 4 cars in the first round of qualifying.
Okay.
To receive points. You will receive show-up points, but if you don't have 4 cars going into the first round, it'll just be show-up points.
Understood.
But,
gotcha.
4 cars, I guess, is, it's going to be a race.
Gotcha. Right.
So we expect more than that. We've got we know of at least one more AFX cars. There's some rule changes coming for AFX.
Okay.
They'll be coming out in the next few weeks.
Okay.
The way it's looking right now, first week of December.
Okay.
All the rules should be complete.
Okay.
So not really any changes in H Gas as far as the rule changes. We're just going to go in as we are. Maybe a minor change here and there, but we've really got to get some cars on the track in H Gas to see where we're at.
Right. Because you don't have a good feeling on these combinations now yet.
Yeah, and
gotcha.
That's pretty much it. And there's so many different combinations.
Yeah, there really is.
It was good to see. We had 5 cars come out. Some of them didn't make the call. On Saturday. But I think we had 7 there, 6 or 7 there. but we only had 5 make the call on Saturday. One new car out, Little Indian. That's Kobe Welch driving Ron Allison's Little Indian Anglia with the Trophy 4 Pontiac in it.
Okay.
So looks like it's got some potential, But just like I say, we've got to get the cars out there, And another reason that we want to do the just show up points until you make the first round is what we've been seeing in some of these cars is they're not they get to the track and they're not ready to race. Seems like they're not they seem to break before they get to the first round.
Okay, understood.
So what we'd like to see is if we to get the class going where it should be, we got to get them on the track and see what's going to happen.
Right.
So hopefully that some of these cars that's out there is been making laps, been doing good, like Robert Frazier's car, but he's had some bad luck, I guess you could say, the last 2 races and broke transmissions. And Scott Partey's been running really well.
Yeah.
He's been making it and looking good.
Right.
But Larry Noel looked better this weekend. He looked better this weekend. Got some of the bog out of the car. I'm sure he's going to come out strong next year. From what I understand, he's planning on running all the races next year.
Great.
So
that's what a nice car.
Oh, it's a beautiful little
it's such
car.
a nice car.
Beautiful little car. Beautiful little car. Todd Hines has got plans on doing some other stuff to his car. Todd's job keeps him from maybe making every race.
Right.
But, Todd's been a big part of H Gas.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to, we'll just have to see what happens.
Right.
Hopefully over the winter there's some more cars being built. So we'll go from there. It came down to Scott Partey and Don Jenkins. I think maybe Jenkins left in 3rd gear and Scott was gone.
Oh, okay. Right.
But congratulations to Scott. It's glad to see him win. But looking forward to both those classes, AFX and H Gas next year.
They're both
coming
fun
out strong.
and and we've talked about it before. I think H Gas is just a great entry point, to be part of the Southeast Gasser deal, and it's just going to be good.
And it's going to be just like any other racing, there's going to be, people's going to work hard and they're going to get faster and
exactly.
faster
Yeah,
and faster.
that is definitely not
just,
saying anything down on the class at all.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Heads up first to the finish line racing. It's everybody's going to get faster. Everybody works hard and get faster. You look at, say NHRA Pro Stock. Everybody, they just continue to get faster.
Yep. There's a lot of smart people doing a lot of things in these classes. So for sure.
Enough. Super Stock. I can't remember exactly how many we had, 12 or 13. There was 1 or 2 that didn't show up at all. But we ended up with 10 on the track. Glad to see Taylor Bright back and Heartbreaker Barracuda.
I'm just really glad she didn't break, because the other 2 times that I've been to one of your events, she has broke the car, and she told me I wasn't allowed to come anymore. So now I'm hoping that curse is lifted, and I'm welcome back now.
It's great to see her there, and that big smile. Steve there smiling, her making good laps, and getting better. She hadn't raced all year.
Right. Yeah.
So hopefully they're going to be out and be back with us next year running. She came down to her and Dean Hall in a consolation race.
Yeah.
Dean Hall took it, and but kind of a little flip flop on the. It's been being Randy Kiefer #1 qualifier and Jerry winning. Quite a bit this year.
A lot, yeah, a lot.
But Jerry Dean come out #1 qualifier, and of course he's the champion. Broke a record again, 6.37 with 8 now, and but he broke 4th gear, and Randy pulled on by him to win.
Right.
So he got the first 8, Randy got the last 2.
Yeah, there it is.
So as we were talking before we come on air here, a lot of energy and talk of cars coming to Superstock.
It's and I know I say this often about almost all the classes because they all are interesting, but like it's fun to see a Superstock class. It's just not something that I don't know if it's anything you really get anymore in a lot of other series. Just kind of seeing a car that basically looks like it should be on the street but going down the track, you know,
and could be
right, exactly, yeah,
could be. At least 3 that I know of right now that's probably coming next year. Maybe more that I don't know about. But it's looking good. You know, we would like to get it back up to maybe at least 16 cars. But you know, some of the things we did this year with not changing rules and just leaving them the same, I think's helping. Right. You know, and you know, we'll just go from there on it. But Alan Lovelady, new engine this weekend there. He looked good. Picked up around some, I think, his best times ever. And it was Superstock was put on a show this weekend. Yeah. You know, Kim Haynes is looking better all the time. Mickey Huddleston had a new engine this weekend. His old car's looking good. You know, there's a big story behind that car. People just need to go to talk to him about it if you're to track and find out about what all went into building that car. Okay. I just threw it was a 4-door. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, and they turned it into a 2-door. 2-door. And there's a lot went into that. Don Wellmont continues to look better and better. You know, I mean, everybody. Bryant Dalton's running better. Dean Hall. You know, just everybody in that whole class is looking better all the time. So glad to see that. SEGA. Todd Oden.
I think he's going to get any good.
Todd Oden, the number 1 qualifier and winner and champion. Yeah. You know, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. You know, Todd Oden's had a banner year. I think 5 wins. 5 wins, 21 total wins now with Southeast Gassers across 3 classes. What? Really, I guess you could say 4 classes, I guess, because D turned into C, and then B and A. He's won in, and just super guy, one of our biggest supporters. You know, Todd's just a great guy. You know, it's like you never catch him without a smile. No. You know, even I was talking maybe to Dylan. I think me and Dylan were sitting there talking at one point on Friday, and all of a sudden I see someone kind of come out of the corner of my eye, and it's him, and he stops and he's smiling. He's, hey, how are you? You know, but just super dude. Yeah, he is. He's great. You know, I mean, one of the first drivers that I ever really got to know and talk to was Todd. You know, and he is a really a good model for what Southeast Gassers is about. Right. Yes. You know, he knows the rules. He doesn't question the rules. He abides by the rules. You know, and he makes it work. That's it. Yeah. That's it. You know, with a great old big girl, he calls her. Yeah. Yeah. But one-way technology, you know, lift that family up in your prayers with everything that's going on with them right now. But one-way technology under the hood of that car, also under the hood of Michael's car, and a lot of other cars out there have one-way heads on them and everything. So, we'll go over the points a little later here.
Okay.
Consolation winner in Gas was Ben Helms. He's a two-time consolation
winner.
Yeah. He won in Gulfport last year. It's always good to see them. They're so another one of those great families. The Helms families. You know, Matt, his cousin Matt. There was some good shots this weekend of them leaving side by side on the back wheels.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good family, good kids. Matt's daughter backs him up. Ben's daughter backs him up.
Right.
You know, it's a really good deal. You know, I say Todd was the number one qualifier there also. Then going into Gas. Now what we got here is Leslie Horn and Leroy, which is Wayne Swafford's car, against Jason Roberts. Leslie has been driving that car to try to get it shook down, you know, because of the injuries in the wreck that Wayne had. And he's just trying to get the car shook down. They've been doing some different engine combinations. I think this is the second time that he's driven the car with a different engine combination both times, just trying to get it to go. Ken Rainwater, number one qualifier. Kind of a little joke been going on. Ken's been losing a lot of weight. His dad said he was going to starve him until he won. But
first good meal he'd had in a while.
Well, he didn't win.
Oh, he didn't win. That's right. Sorry, first qualifier.
So
first win. Yeah,
he's
got
gonna
you.
Starve over the winter.
Starve a little more.
But anyway, he's got a new engine combination.
Gotcha.
And it's working well. He wasn't far off the record this weekend.
Really?
Or this past race. I say this weekend. It's been a week and a half now. Mm-hmm. But good to see them up there and running good. It was really good to see them there. It came down to him and Rick Varner.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick red-lighted, and he crossed.
We talked about this a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and in my time with Southeast Gassers, I've only know of one other time that's happened, and it happened twice in this race.
Right.
You know, first or worse.
Yep.
Which is a long time rule in drag racing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's worse is crossing. There's nothing worse than crossing into the other guy's lane. And
I was studying on this because I knew we had talked about it a few days ago, and I've looked it up online to kind of like see kind of like why, like mm-hmm. you know why this first or worse kind of rule. And they said how the NHRA put it was at first, okay, if you red light, it's like a driving infringement, mm-hmm. where if you cross the center line, it's a safety infringement, and that's where when you take safety into it, that makes it the worst part of it, and that's where it comes from. So I'd heard first or worst for years and years, and had never actually looked it up and why it was that way. It makes a lot of sense though.
You don't see it a whole lot, mm-hmm. you know. I mean, it's been a few years back. It happened in Funny Car, mm-hmm. John Force,
right.
John Force, someone red lit against him. I can't remember who it was, but he went out and crossed, lost the race.
Lost race.
You know, so, you know, I mean, that's why it's there. It's a safety factor.
Right.
You know, it's to try to keep someone from maybe staying in it when they could get out of it. Mm-hmm. You know, and of course in Rainwater's instance, he was in the air, so there was no steering it out of it.
Right.
You know? So.
but
because it happened right at the line, you know. And good to see Rick come in there and get one. That's his first win of the year, his first year in B gas. I think he may have ran a race or two in B gas, or was going to, and decided to go to A gas a few years ago in the Nova. But good to see him. I mean, you know, Rick's tough on the tree.
Yeah.
Rick will cut your head off, you know, and if he's close, you know, I mean, he'll get you.
Get you, right.
You know, and like I say, it's good to see him win that, and he's had a good year in the points, you know, and so that's B gas. Rainwater was very close to the record. Kevin Burt, which sold his car and ended up driving it again for the new owner this weekend, but he broke a transmission or something, so he didn't get to go on past the first round.
Gotcha.
A gas. Ben Christopher, new engine. You know, he's had Leslie's backup.
Yep.
And been running very well with it. But he's got a new engine, Jason Lyons engine, and
that thing sounded wicked.
It was very. And the power wheelies he was doing was just, you know, I mean, he was leaving and then it just kept pulling, you know.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Then it got into Saturday. He number one qualifier. He qualified very, very close to the record. Ran some times even closer to the record, and you know, when it came down to he left, just stood up and crossed the line.
Right.
You know, and it's a lot like what Rainwater had done. You know, in the same lane.
Right.
In the same lane. And one thing at Shady Side, you know, they work the track. They keep the track up, and that left lane loses the sun before the right lane.
Okay.
So that one starts cooling off a little bit before the other one, and so it changes things. And at Shady Side, especially this time of year, the track changes all day, you know. I mean, there's a time there when, you know, just like Saturday, we had, you know, the track was hot. You know, it got pretty warm, and then as it starts cooling off, and I think it was Seth Buff and I were talking, he said this next round's probably going to be the best of the day, you know, there. He said the track's going to, it's cooling off, it's going to get really good, and then it'll start to go away again.
Gotcha.
So
just like it's perfect zone, and he knows it.
Yeah. And so when he stood up and crossed, you know, I mean, that was it for him. And you see a lot of people that go out there and they look at the track, check the track, and they decide their crew chief or whoever will kind of tell them what RPM to leave at. And that makes a big difference. So, you know, I mean, some of that goes on and stuff. You know, there was some comments about track prep and this and that, but what we do is kind of leave that up to the track itself. And if I see something that I don't feel is right, you know, I mean, I'll say something to them. But what they were doing, the track stayed pretty good all day. And what they were doing was between classes. They would go out and rosin a little bit and spray over it.
Right.
And I try to never let them do anything during a class run, you know, because that.
Yeah, got to keep it even, as even as you can.
And it's just like if they're doing it between every car, you know, you don't skip a car, you know, or whatever. But anyway, that's kind of what happened to Ben there. Ben left, the car had been going out and bringing it up, and it just stood straight up and turned right on him, you know. And so, you know, he was out there at that point, probably, you know, had the car to beat.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I think it was said that he had something for Leslie that day.
I heard I was sitting there talking to Leslie Friday, and someone said, Ben says he's got something for you this weekend, and he, Leslie he said, I'll believe it when I see it, or something to that effect. And we start laughing. He said, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll have to say I believe he did.
Yeah,
because
he's got to be feeling pretty good about that combo. I mean, to be coming out and just basically right out of the trailer, he's running that close to the record.
Yeah, and two, when you do pick up more horsepower, more torque, or whatever, it changes the setup on the car.
Right, of course.
You gotta relearn it, and it's the same thing when he had Leslie's backup engine. It took him a little bit. I mean, he had it earlier in the year, and it was like he couldn't handle it. He couldn't get it calmed down to where it needed to be. I shouldn't say handle it. He can handle it fine, but he just couldn't get it. Get a handle of the car.
Getting
itself.
the combo together,
and but it'll take him a little bit. But Ben will be tough with that combination.
Yeah, for sure.
But you get into A gas. There's a lot of toughness in A gas.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, Leslie has showed out a little bit here. But it's because and he kind of ran away with the points there at the end of the year. One reason was that Todd Blackwell couldn't make the Gulfport race, and that gave him a bigger lead. But also, as we've talked here before, Gabriel didn't make all the races this year, and speaking of that, Gabriel was off his game some this weekend.
Yeah,
he never did perform like he normally
does. Yeah,
and two, I mean, when you're away and you come back, things advance while you're gone.
Yeah, they could have been trying something. You know what I mean? The last race of the year, just see how they went out.
Then Kenneth's been a little bit off on his game. So, and talking with Kenneth and stuff there, he's ready to. I think he's ready to go back home to Spartanburg.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and but like I say, it was a strange year in A gas. We've got. The Alan Pittman car, they with Mike Sward,
that's just another car. It's just immaculate.
It is a super nice car, I mean, but we've got a lot of them out there.
You do, absolutely.
But they're getting a handle on it now. They did better this weekend than they have performed any race so far. So that car is going to end up being a factor.
Yeah.
Scott Butelet's car, the orange Willis with the small block Ford in it. The car's got potential big time. When they can get the handle on that car, it's going to be there.
Right.
And, Chase Howard. Chase is right there. I mean, Chase has just been a little bit off of where he was last year and maybe earlier in this year. But A gas is just it could come out and really be something next year.
Yeah, for sure. Let's not forget. I know Leslie won the last 5 races, but the first 5 races you had 5 different winners. So everyone shouldn't lose sight of that. I mean that's how exactly close this can be. I mean, like you said, whatever circumstance kind of led to it, Leslie kind of showed out. At the end of the season, but that class is going to tighten up.
Oh yes. But it ended up being Greg Stelz with his new engine combination. Yeah. He's right there. He won more rounds in the last 2 races than he won all year last year.
Right.
And he's won some other rounds this year also. So that team's coming around. They've got some good horsepower under the hood on that car. Just talked with him earlier today. The engine's getting crated up, going back to Spartanburg.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's better things probably going to happen there too.
Right.
So, that's another one that I didn't throw into that mix. So you're going to have 6-7 cars in A gas that's potential winners.
Yep. Every time they're there.
Every time you're on the track.
Yep.
But it was exciting A Gas this weekend with Rob Walden running the way he did.
Right.
Rob all the way down to the finals, and I mean he was on it. You know, I mean he didn't give it to Leslie.
Right.
I mean Leslie had to work for it, you know, in the finals. So.
Walden comes up with a 5:43 with a 9 at 128 miles an hour. Leslie Horn 5:21 with a 0, 130.
Good to see Justin Moses back. Justin showed up this weekend and took a consolation race.
Yep.
So that was all good. And, of course, Leslie took a win, won the race and the championship. Of course, he'd already tied that up before. But as I was talking before, we were talking about the worst, first or worse. Greg in the second round running Chase red lighted, and then Greg crossed. You know, at the end of the track. I had stepped over to the side, and I couldn't hardly see who did it, who had hit the block. And then as soon as, found out that Greg had hit the block, I mean, it was first or worse. And so that put Chase back in. But it was a really good race. The stands was full all the way to the end.
Yep. I
had a cousin, family member, he and his wife, and her brother was there. Never been to one before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I look around, and we're doing the winner's circle stuff, and they're standing there. So they've stayed all
the whole
night excited, and asking me how much it costs to build one of these things.
Yep.
Well, it's and it's really according to how good you want to run, how much it costs to build one of these things. I mean, you can build something and go out and have fun, but to be competitive, it's like anything else. It's not cheap.
Spend as much as you want to spend.
That's it. That is it. But Shady Side Finals, as always, is one of the best of the year.
And this is the first time I've been since they've made the changes. And man, it's really good. The stands, they've lifted those up. It's so much better to sit and watch the race there now. And it's a good place to just be. Like you said, there's a good energy, and the temperatures and everything were awesome down there when we were there. So it's just good. They've
still got more stands to add in. Whoever was putting them up is kind of giving them a run around. They're supposed to have been back every week for months and have never showed up.
Gotcha.
But they'll get there, and they've moved a lot of dirt on the hill up there and making all that better. They still have more plans. Several things that we talked about this weekend down there with them about things that they're going to do is going to be big improvements.
Awesome. Great.
They're going to make the track more visible from those stands.
Okay.
So it's all going to be good stuff. We're looking at going there twice again next year. I'm sure most everybody saw the schedule by now, and so we looking real forward to our first race at South Georgia Motorplex. It's going to be really good. We're working on putting together something for that race that's going to be really big.
Okay.
For Southeast Gassers and for the season opener. It's going to be the biggest venue Southeast Gassers has ever been to.
Yeah.
It's a national event venue.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's from what I understand, the PDRA race that we went to at Bristol this year could have been down there. Bristol beat them out on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a big deal.
I
mean, and you never know, there could be a national event there someday.
Right. That would be great. That would be really cool.
The tech report from Shady Side, finals. 4 cars took advantage and got their 2024 tech sticker at the last race. So there was, I don't know a total number of cars that got their tech sticker this year, but there was a lot.
Yeah, there was.
2 new car inspections, Multiple cars were checked for ride height. Multiple cars made motor changes and weight changes for the finals. Fuel pooled in Jerry Dean's record, all good. Multiple fuel samples tested, including methanol checks and AFX, helping to build a database for this 25 season as they become a championship class.
Okay.
Meeting held with H Gas to explain tech involvement for 2025 season as they become a championship class. They were also invited to express rule concerns and input at the meeting. Todd Oden was P&G on a new combination with his win and pass. Leslie Horn was tore down from the tech department. And that was basically the same thing as Jerry Dean. I'll get to the letter here in a minute. The tech department would like to thank all who reached out and to those who competed this year for being such professionals in every aspect. Expect the rules out by 12/1. Your tech department is looking forward to a record-breaking season in 25. Let me see here. If I can get this where I can read it. At the conclusion of the 2024 SEGA Championship Finals presented by Robbins Repairables, Shadyside Dragway, the Southeast Gassers Technical Department conducted a thorough teardown inspection of the A-Gas Finals winner, Mr. Leslie Horn. This teardown inspection consisted of no less than 65 individual inspection points, to include carburetor intake manifold, cylinder head removal, and it has been determined by the SEGA Technical Department that there was 0 rule infractions. We would like to thank Mr. Leslie Horn and his team for their professionalism and courtesy throughout this inspection process. I was there during some of that, trying to get up with Leslie. What we do on that is we ask that it's only that team crew.
Right.
That is there. That
Yeah,
there's
don't
no
need a bunch of
prying
people
eyes.
looking.
Yeah, there's no prying eyes on that. And Stacy Hall that's with Fulton Racing Engines or Fulton Competition was there with them. Also, Carburetor Bob, and they were checking everything on that.
Right.
A little more in depth than I had been involved with before.
Oh, really?
Yes. So. Didn't expect anything, Gene Fulton's not going to let anything out of his shop. It's not legal.
Right.
I mean, they didn't want anything out there that's going to hurt his name.
Exactly.
So, we pretty well know going in, but it's just something that you got to do, just like the Jerry Dean deal.
Well, it has to be a transparency to that
Yes.
stuff. Everybody
Yes.
needs to know. And it's Leslie's in even a little bit more awkward position, right? Being
Yes.
a series owner and now a champion. So it's even more important, I would say.
Yeah, and just like the fuel with the record runs that Leslie's had this year and everything, he has had more fuel checks than anyone out there.
Right.
They've been all over that.
So do they pull a fuel sample every time you have a record run? Is
Yes.
that's part of the requirement? Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and we have multiple ways of testing fuel now also.
Okay.
Just like they said in there about the AFX and the methanol checks, we're trying to get a database on that to where we've got more, history to look at, and stuff. So in talking with an IHRA official a couple years ago, that's basically, he is now NHRA, but that's basically how they have done it over the years. They have such a history that they can go back and determine real quick whether you did something wrong or not.
Gotcha. I mean, it makes a ton of sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, Jerry Dean, new record, 6.37 with an 8. That leaves Gulfport holding all the gas records and the attendance record for the 2024 season. Leslie Horn with a 5.18. Kevin Burt, 5.591. Jaron Purdue, 5.965.
All your gas classes solidly in the 5s now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and so is AFX. I mean, pretty much.
Right, that's
AFX
true,
is 90s.
Man.
So, yeah, we. All right, getting into the points. Of course, everyone knows Jerry Dean, 2024 Superstock champion. Randy Kiefer, number 2. Bryant Dalton, number 3. Alan Leblady, number 4. Don Wilmot, number 5. Kim Haynes, number 6. Kenny Phillips, number 7. Mickey Huddleston, number 8. Eddie Willis in the gift, number 9. Zach Long, number 10. SEGAS, Todd Oden, champion. Tim Hall, second. That went back and forth a little bit on second and third for a while, who was going to make second or third with Jaron Purdue. Jaron red-lighted, and that pretty much left it to Tim, but Tim had a bad weekend also. Tim broke a ladder bar.
Oh, really?
Something was not right on that race car as it was bouncing a little bit off the starting line. I'm sure his dad, George.
And then when they re-welded the ladder bar, it didn't get everything back right, and it went left and crossed. So that put him out. But, I don't know how it would have had to go for Jaron to make up. There's looks like there's 10 points between them here. So it would have been a possibility for Jaron to pull into second place after, purchasing Stud Muffin and coming, to be a contender.
Right.
Jaron Purdue third, Ernie Smith fourth, Brad Wimberly fifth, Diana Casto sixth, Billy Wilson seventh, Josh Pruitt eighth, Jesse Beaver ninth, and Alfred Adams 10th.
That's great.
Good to see Alfred there this weekend. Alfred, you can tell Alfred's still in some pain.
Yeah.
He went out and he did his qualifying pass and stuff, just enough to stay in the top 10. I think he was just supposed to going to ease down, but he went for it. I think he ran I can't remember what he ran. I'd have to look. I've got it here, but I won't go back and look at it. But good to see Alfred there. And
just super fast while I'm thinking about it, and you mentioned her right there. So Diana Casto, we have become to where we talk relatively often, and she is right now is contending to be part of a Women in Motorsports calendar.
Yes.
And so if you guys will go over and check out her Facebook page, the Quick Draw Falcon, you can find them on Facebook. That should get you to it. And she's got the link showed up there multiple times. Go in there and vote for her, and let's get her on that, because that would be so cool to see that. And she's really excited about it. And I would like everybody that listens to go do that. I think you can vote every 4 hours. I've been trying to be pretty consistent on it. I have missed it a few times probably, but I've tried to. So definitely go do that for her, because it would be really cool.
If you can't find it there, it's on my page also.
Yeah, and mine as well.
So B-Gas, Daniel Haynes. We didn't say much about Daniel for this weekend. I think Ken Rainwater kind of Daniel red lighted against Rainwater, I think it was.
Right.
Daniel had a great year. Great year. He well-deserved championship, runner-up, maybe twice before. But another great family.
Right.
Think the world of that whole family. They're a big part of Southeast Gassers. Mary Beth, one of our backup ladies, and then Reba is a trophy girl, and Nick helps us in distributing the ladders for us.
Gotcha.
So he worked for us all year. He's
Right.
part. He's part of the crew. So very well deserved championship there for them. Ted McKee, number 2, last year's champion. Rick Varner, number 3. His first full year in B-Gas, I know. Michael Oden. I'm not sure. He got his first win in Gulfport, but he come all the way to 4th in the points. And good to see him there.
That is a big win right there for Michael Oden as he continues to notch. Off Michael Oden. That is a media upset right there, but Jerry Burns finding his way back into the driver's seat again. He laid a tree on.
I was just looking here. But that's right. Yeah, Mike Blackwell 5th, Ken Rainwater 6th, Art Copeland 7th, Kelvin Cannon 8th. Greg Adams 9th, and Rod Bergner finishing out the top 10. Rod would have been higher than that, but he had some engine issues the last few races, changed out engines, and still had another problem, and he still had some problems with the engine this weekend.
Right.
But good to see him finish in the top 10. Rod is a longtime supporter of Southeast Gassers. Came from Texas up here to run with us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A-Gas. Leslie Horn. I think this is his 3rd championship. Won C-Gas 2 and A. Like I say, he ran away with it a little bit there toward the end of the year. But Ben, very, very tight from second to 5th. There's like 15 points. He and Kenneth ended up tied, but he got there first, so he stays there.
Right.
So Kenneth number 3, Chase Howard number 4, only 5 back from those two, and then you got Todd Blackwell. He's only 10 back from those two in 5th. Barry Lynn, longtime supporter of Southeast Gassers. That's another big family in Southeast Gassers. Angela. Angela's in the tower. Angela takes care of all this stuff that I've been reading off of here. Does an absolute wonderful job. She's the heart of this deal.
Yeah.
And then Renee, Barry's wife, Angela's mother. She's a go-to for me all the time. She does some absolutely great photography for us.
She does.
And so that the Lynn family's big in this. Greg Stealth, 7th. If he had got his new combination in earlier in the year, that would have changed.
Right.
Rob Walden, 8th. Dean Jonath, 9th. And Gabriel, with missing several races, still finished out in the top 10.
Wow.
So
That speaks for what That speaks for those guys right there.
But we had over 120 different cars racing Southeast Gassers across 10 races this year.
Wow. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, and there's just like we spoke before, there's multiple cars being built. There's a few cars for sale out there. People's decided to go a different direction, or, you know, maybe building a new car or whatever. But there's several cars for sale out there. You know, if anyone's interested in picking up a Southeast Gassers car, then contact me. We can put you on one. The Banquet, January 11th. The info's out. It's on the member side. It's been posted on the association site. There's going to be his actual banquet this year. It's going to be food. It's going to be a really good deal. And Southeast Gassers Awards Banquet this year is going to be different than it's ever been. It is going to, anyone that walks across the stage is going to be not just get a plaque and applauded from the crowd. They're going to get something.
Okay.
So, in talking with someone else yesterday that's associated with a lot of other drag racing groups, that he said that's just unprecedented that they do anything past fifth.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Says you don't hardly ever see that where anybody gets a monetary, anything monetary past fifth place.
Gotcha.
But that's going to happen in Southeast Gassers this year. If you're in the top 10 and you walk across the stage, you will be receiving something. Glad that we were able to do that this year.
Yeah.
You know, we really appreciate every one of our racers. And, you know, if you've ever been to one of our races and listened to what I say in the drivers' meeting and stuff, you know, I've said this multiple times, you know, these people in the stands don't come to see me or these guys in the white shirts.
Right.
They come to see these guys in these cars.
That's right.
And gals.
Yep.
You know, they come to see what racing used to be, what racing still is with the Southeast Gassers the way it was in the 1960s.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of things out there about being period correct and things like that. If we were exactly period correct equipment-wise, we wouldn't make it out of the water box.
Right.
But the cars look period correct.
Right.
To the most part.
So I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit. So the Southeast Gassers Facebook page and Instagram page had put out a post the other day that I was really surprised to see, and it was basically asking the fans on would they rather see the scoreboards lit up or not, yes or no. That was the post basically.
Yes.
So I wanted to get you to explain to the people here, why is it that the Southeast Gassers do not light your scoreboards up?
In the 60s, they didn't have numbers on the boards.
Only the wind light.
Only the wind light.
Gotcha.
You're racing heads up first to the finish line, so the wind light is really the only thing that matters.
Gotcha.
And another thing, if you're sitting in the stands and you see, just say per se qualifying, you're sitting there in the stands and you see qualifying and you see Ben Christopher go out and run a record run. You see the guy that's qualifying in the 16th spot go out and run quite a bit slower than that. You're going to look at that and you're going to say, well, shoot, this guy's going to win.
Gotcha.
You know. But if you're sitting there in the stands, a few hundreds, which you might see difference on the scoreboards, you don't see on the track.
Right.
You don't really notice that on the track as much. So what it does is it keeps the fans excited about what's going on down there, and they want to see who's going to win.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, just say, you know, Leslie, for instance, is running a 20, you know, Ben Christopher's running a 19, you know, Kenneth's running a 25.
Right.
Stales is running a 23, you know, somebody else is running a 28, somebody's running a 30, somebody's running a 35. You don't see that much on the track. You know, I mean, it's just a blink of an eye.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that amount of time is.
Yeah.
But if the scoreboards were up there, it kind of takes away from that a little bit.
Gotcha.
So I guess it was in 23, yeah. Quayne called me one day and he said, what can we do to get some excitement going for this next race? And I said, let me think about it. So I thought about it and I called him back. And I said, well, we could turn the scoreboards on in the finals. I said, that would create some excitement going into the race, you know. So he agreed, and we did. We did it for just a couple of races.
Yep, I remember. And
it created some excitement. And then a lot of people say, you know, that, you know, we should turn them on all the way through. But
I'm one of those. Not to give you a hard time, but I'm one of those.
No, I'm totally the opposite.
Really?
I'm totally the opposite.
Man, so and let me make my case on why. I've thought about this a while. I don't know if you can notice or not, but I've thought about this a lot.
I saw your comment.
So, growing up, me and Dad, we always went to Bristol. You know, and we went to the national event there almost every year from basically the time I could walk until some years ago. But like I remember on those, especially those Friday night runs, you knew the air and you knew the track was capable of record runs, right? They're talking about it in the stands and stuff. And so you kind of are like, as a fan, you're sitting there knowing that this could happen tonight, right? There's something that could go down. And so there was this excitement to it. And then when the cars go down, and like you said, when you see the cars go down, you might not be able to judge it, especially a top fuel car or something, you know. You might not be able to judge that kind of off of it. But when you see the number and you know what number you're looking for, what the record is, and then you see a lower number pop up, I don't know. To me, it just adds an excitement to it that makes you want to just be involved in it. And so that's my case on why I say that. And to that, I can agree with what you're saying. Yep. But what you've got in, say, AA fuel, you've got, or pro stock or whatever, you've got maybe 18, 19 cars to make a 16 car field. Right. So you're going to have a few thousandths between first and 16th. Down to 16th.
17th and 18th is going to miss by a very few thousandths. All right, let's just take, for instance, let's just say the top 16. There's 800s between first and 16th in one of our classes here.
Right.
You know, 800s in first to 16th. That's a big difference than 2 or 3 thousandths.
Yeah, I know. But
you know, that's 2 or 3 thousandths. So we're totally different than what they are.
I'm with you.
You know, so that takes away from a driver's perspective. You know, if you're putting that number out there and I'm a second and a half or 800ths slower than that guy, but you don't see that much in the stands. And two, a lot of that can change as far as what kind of light you cut.
For sure. I mean,
what kind of light you cut. You know, I mean, if this guy over here sleeps on the tree, you know, just say go back to, was it Ohio? I think it was Ohio where Leslie eat a steak and a baked potato on the line, and Quayne killed him.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
right.
You know, I mean, he's 300s, 3 to 400s, 300s, probably 300s, 2 to 300s anyway, slower than Leslie. But he made that difference up, and he was so far out, Leslie couldn't catch it. Right. You know, so you know, there's that factor in there too. Right. You know.
So I guess where I'm going with this, when that poll came out, and I made my comment. I didn't even go back and look. And I know that there was a follow-up post later on that said that it had surprised you guys. So was there a surprise from that poll that you thought? Or were you guys surprised to see someone? I don't know what the result was.
Surprisingly close.
Really?
It was
Okay.
surprisingly close. Let me see.
Again,
if
I'm
I
putting
can-
him on the spot. We didn't talk about this beforehand.
You're
So.
good. You're good. I mean, this is all good stuff. It's off
Yeah.
the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's off the cuff.
And again, it just with me and again maybe it's personality wise because like me and Dad are really analytical, kind of coming from like the engineering side of stuff. So like I love to see that number, and it just makes me really excited and to know. And the other part of it, from we talk about the speed of these A-gas cars, it's just. For me, I love to see it published and for people to know immediately, man, look how dang fast these cars are going.
Well, and two, you know, I mean, it's all right. It was it come out to one of my tech guys is tech savvy, I guess you would say. And
Okay.
I mean, he's really into numbers too, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So it came out within 10 of each other.
Really?
Yeah.
I really thought it was would have been went one way or the other.
No.
Really tight. Interesting.
Yeah, it and I missed something. I just saw it there when I looked at my phone. Michael Walters was a consolation winner in B-Gas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I had found it out. I had wrote it. I had not wrote it down.
Gotcha.
But Michael Walters, and that car is for sale. Papa's Wild Willie's.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, turnkey deal. That car is for sale. But you know, I mean, it can go either way. You know, I mean, I will say this: it was closer than the election polls.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair. Yeah.
But it surprised me that it was that close.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, you know, it's 50-50.
Right.
You know, so pretty close. You know, I mean, it was within 10.
Right.
And,
Yeah, that's fair.
And there was no thought in my mind of ever turning them on from qualifying on.
Never.
Only in maybe the semis and the finals. But
Gotcha.
preferably, if it's going to be my call, it'll only be the finals.
Gotcha.
You know.
Fair enough.
And pretty much, I guess it was come down to my call.
Right. Well, yeah,
You
it's
know,
fair.
yeah. But, and that's
I
where
made
it
my
went.
case. I hear you.
But you know, no, I think I like it not being on.
Okay.
You know, with just and it's kind of it gives you that excitement all the way through the race.
Gotcha.
You know, so you know, and that's you know, I'm not saying it won't ever change.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Yeah.
but
right.
But I will say I won't ever change it.
Gotcha. Understood. Loud and clear.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, we're trying to keep it the way it's been.
I know.
You
That makes sense. And a change like that could. Some people might love. I mean, like apparently it's really close, and I didn't realize that. But that could throw people off. You know what I mean? So I understand.
You know,
and
I mean,
I don't blame you.
It's like the clutchless shifting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was totally against letting them clutchless shift. You know, and then I mean, you know, there's ways to monitor it that Quayne did not want to do, that I wanted to do. But in the long run, it was going to take a lot to monitor it.
Yeah.
You know, and
See now me, I would be way more adamant on on making them clutch than the scoreboards. I would much rather see them clutching the cars than to have the scoreboards off.
But see, when it's hard to keep up with.
I know.
When you got
I
the guys
understand.
in the car.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we had the rule actually said that you had to go to the clutch stop.
Okay.
You know, so
how in the world? I didn't realize it was written that specific.
yeah, that's the way the rule was written, and that you had to break the clutch away from the engine, release it to the clutch stop. But when, you know, and then with putting cameras in the car, you had people that were doing that and winning doing that. And, but then you had people that were moving their clutch that much and some maybe have been releasing. You know,
Right. There's no way to know.
But anyway, just like I say, it was hard to monitor. You know, I mean, I had the idea of maybe putting a light on the clutch stop to where it would light up a light on the back of the car.
I thought when you said that, I thought that too. Yeah.
But then someone could say, well, my light didn't work. You know, well. You know, I mean, but there's all kinds of things you could get into.
I'm not here to ruffle feathers. I promise.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I really
you're fine.
not.
We need to, you know, and it's good to get this stuff out there because there was some comments on that about clutchless shifting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it is
and I was really against it. And I mean, and I'll throw it out here. This is one of the reasons that I quit. I walked away from Southeast Gassers.
Yeah.
At the
you
beginning
believed in
of
it so firmly.
Yes. And that was one of the reasons.
Yeah.
But you know, when we had people that had did some things with their linkage, not really sure exactly what was going on there, but maybe some electromagnet stuff or something.
Okay.
You know, that I saw in the final inspections at the last race of 22.
Okay.
That I feel like what was going on there. I'm not really sure what was going on there, but anyway, I mean, you know, people's going to figure out a way.
Of course. Again, we talked about it. These are some very smart people, and this is what they live and breathe. They're going to study it and figure it out.
Yeah. But my thought was when they go to clutchless shifting, it's going to be like automatics. But it's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's not like automatics. It's they actually when they pull a gear, people are sitting in the stands, and I mean, I had people sitting in the stands telling me, you know, well, that guy's clutchless shifting. Well, I got a camera in his cars, you know. Well, no, he was not.
Right.
You know, he was clutching.
Right.
You know, but you know, you can maybe tell somewhat, but there were people out there that were good enough shifters that it didn't make that much a difference.
Right.
But what that did do is it pulled those people that weren't that good of shifters.
Tighten the classes up.
It tightened it up to where their times got better, but the guys that were really good shifters, it didn't help them that much as far as clutchless shifting.
So it brought some parity
into
it.
So basically what it done is it penalized skill. It penalized skill, you know, I mean, but I will say, you know, I mean, you watch us race now, it's as good as it ever was, and maybe even better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean,
absolutely.
It's closer. You know, the times are closer. You know, I mean, it's kind of closed the field up a little bit and everything. But you know, I mean, there's some things, and Quayne and I have talked about it before too. You know, I mean, Quayne told me one time if there was anything that he could go back and do, he would make everybody run an H gas H pattern shifter. But, you know, and then there was somebody posted something on that same survey you did about H pattern shifters.
Really?
Well, see, that's something that they don't know either. We've got multiple people that
still
run
have
H. Kenneth Phillips, one of the top AFX cars. He runs
Really?
He runs a H pattern shifter.
I didn't know that.
Barry Lynn runs a H pattern shifter. There's multiple people out there that still runs an H pattern.
Gotcha.
You know, they don't like the inline.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would be it's a completely different style. I mean, I imagine it would be a thing you'd have to work at.
Yeah.
But
now I will say that the H pattern shifters that are out there now are not like the H pattern shifters that I had in my
my Galaxy. This throw.
But Long makes one that's really, really nice.
Right.
You know, so. They Long shifters, G-force transmissions, they have really helped Southeast Gassers.
Absolutely.
Roby Myrick, one of a kind. Roby Myrick is he totally supports Southeast Gassers. He's been involved in all kinds of racing. In a conversation with him a few days ago, and he's just, man, there's nothing like this.
Yeah.
And his schedule has lightened up to where he says he's probably going to be at every race next year, and his wife's going to be with him at a bunch of them.
Great. That's
so
awesome.
that's how much he loves us.
That's
and we definitely love Roby.
Yeah, so having someone that can back your guys like that, I mean, that's invaluable.
And G-Force is a big sponsor of Southeast Gassers.
Yeah.
They do a lot for Southeast Gassers. Not only with what he does at the track, you got to fight him to take $1.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Roby does a great job for us, and that's changed Southeast Gassers, because I mean we were breaking transmissions and people would put it in trailer.
Right. Now he rebuilds them and they're back in.
Yeah. Next round, back out there.
It's amazing.
Back out there. Southeast Gassers gear. Steven,
Yes.
you want to talk about it?
I do want to talk about that. I meant to talk about it earlier. Behind us here, we have added some additions to the studio here. Stephen was kind enough to give us this banner here, and it's just one of the coolest. It's awesome. I really love it. He's supplied us with posters all throughout the year. I even have some over here that I haven't been able to put up yet, and it's just. I think I saw him say, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but he said he was one of the most proud of this poster that he made for Shady Side. It might be his favorite that he's ever made, and I'll tell you that's a big thing, because I love all these posters. Every one of them that come out are just so cool. But anyway, like I said, definitely check out your Southeast Gassers gear. Randy's got their hoodie on, and he's got this "There Is No Rival" T-shirt, which is, I think that's pretty new.
It is.
Yeah,
that's one of his newest.
Yeah, I thought it was
one of his newest, and picked up this weekend, and it's been handy today.
Yeah, it's been cool today. I'm gonna have to get one of those. I love that style of jacket. Yeah.
It's been real handy today.
Yeah,
windy up here and stuff there, and but Steven does a great job for us. I don't know what we would do without Steven.
Yeah.
And all of our staff, I mean, it's just can't say enough about them. It's been a great year.
It has.
Great year. There's been very few problems. I mean, it's kind of like a family. There's going to be little deals here and there,
Always.
but it all gets worked out in the end, and all of our racers. And their families and their crews and stuff. It's just been a wonderful year. We with what went on here with the hurricane and the floods and everything, and the way people stepped up.
Yep.
I mean, I've got people calling me from Alabama and everywhere saying, "Man, I can be there in just a few minutes."
Yeah.
Rodney Lash and his daddy Wayne. I mean, that I just about had to argue with him to get him to not head this way.
Right.
And there, but I mean, there was a lot of need here, but it wasn't me in as big a need. I mean, we had some minor inconveniences, but I've had several. Art Copeland. Sam Gable, I mean, I've just had all kinds of people reach out to me. A lot of people have helped Bill Revels and Sharon with what went on with them and their houses getting flooded and stuff, and then just Southeast Gassers is just a great, great bunch of people.
It really is.
Gabriel and Katie have just went over the top to do what they've done for people, and they continue to do things for people and stuff, and it's just top of the line people.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I think at the beginning of this season we said that, or maybe at the end of last season, last year was our first time doing the podcast, and then this is our first full season of doing it. We said that 2024 was probably going to be one of the bigger years for Southeast Gassers, and I think that's come to the truth.
It definitely has, even with all the weather, the rainouts and the heat and stuff. We still ended up, I think, with attendance we broke the overall attendance record, but I think average attendance
is up.
Yeah, is up. Over the 10 races. We are going to 11 races next year, back to like what used to be. A couple of years ago, we were doing 11. Just trying to reach out to the South Georgia, Upper Florida, Panhandle people, and that our fans in that area, trying to spread out down that way a little bit. And we've had all kinds of requests for the Midwest.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got tracks in Kansas City and stuff wanting us to come there, but that's just, that's a long way.
It's a long way.
I won't say never.
Well, of course.
But that's a long way. But we are going to, going to Jackson, Tennessee, Jackson Dragway, and that's east of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
East of Memphis there. So that's going to open up the Midwest some there for that. We're going to Alabama this year, holiday. Right. And but all the others, there's 3 new tracks for this year. All the others we've been to. And, looking forward to it. Leslie and I were talking last night. Everything's looking good for it to be the biggest season ever for Southeast Gassers.
Yeah, I think I've just got a good feeling about next year. I think so.
PRI in a couple of weeks. A lot of things going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So be sure you stop by the Power Tube TV booth if you're going. Greg Stels's car is going to be in the Power Tube TV booth. His show, Built for Speeds, on Power Tube. Of course, our show, Southeast Gassers Association, and we found out that it's the #1 show on Power Tube now.
Awesome.
Lots of viewers. Saw some numbers on that recently. Looking for it just to build. Thanksgiving, there's going to be, from what I understand, going to be a marathon.
Okay, cool.
Running what's been ran in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the next episode will be around Thanksgiving, and then they'll just run all the rest of them along with it.
Gotcha.
From what I understand. And but we'll see what next year brings. Dylan Horton has it's amazing what Dylan does.
Yep, it really is.
From my first time of seeing Dylan's stuff, which I thought was great, till now, he just continues to get better.
Yep.
Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft is doing a great job for us, and all these others,
Yeah, you guys got a lot of coverage.
Redline Motorsports, Alan Ogg, David Smith, Renee. Everybody's just doing an absolutely jam-up job on the coverage they've got for Southeast Gassers.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Shift points.
Yeah, thanks. We try.
But, thank Leslie and Wayne for what they've done for Southeast Gassers.
Yeah.
And continue to thank Wayne for
starting it.
For being the cornerstone.
Couldn't do it without him.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. It's we got to keep this alive.
Agreed. And it's like I said, I just think sky's the limit.
Yeah, there's definitely no rival.
No, there is no rival.
There's no rival.
All right, you good?
I'm good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this season. Yes. I'm sure, like we did this past year, I'm sure we'll have at least one episode, maybe preseason, kind of talk about kind of the build-up and anything that's happened over the off-season. I'm guessing we'll probably do something like that. And then, like I said in the last one, we're just looking to try and make this even better,
yes.
Next year. We're going to, me and Dylan have already been talking and trying to kind of come up with stuff that we can do to make everything better here and get you guys tuning in more and more. And we appreciate everybody that's found us because of Southeast Gassers, and we appreciate Randy and the Southeast Gassers for absolutely letting us do this.
Glad to do it.
We enjoy it.
Glad to do it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Like Randy was saying, check out Southeast Gassers gear. They're on all the social medias. You can check out the Southeast Gassers YouTube page. Make sure you're watching Dylan's recaps, PowerTube TV. Man, there's just so many people to follow. DH Media, check out Dylan's stuff. He's wanting to do more. I know he's looking to do more stuff on his own a little bit, so or making other videos. So make sure to check him out.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there that's got their own channels too. You know, Diana,
Quick
Draw, Ernie Smith Racing.
Yeah, if
Greg
you go,
Stelz,
if you go on Facebook and type in SEGA in the top of it, it's going to give you a list of cars, and it might not be all of them, but it's a good starting spot if you're looking to follow these people on social media and get their content.
Yeah,
start there.
Chick Magnet, there's just a lot of them to follow out there.
There is,
and that helps them. I mean, give them a like and a follow.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you when we're back.